Earlier this spring, local shoppers and vendors alike were so excited to hear this announcement from Marla Anders. She is the mastermind behind the Barn Festival near Hastings. First of all, Marla, thanks so much for joining us again.
Oh gosh, I think it's just awesome. I'm happy to be with you. Yeah.
It's so awesome. And you have such a cool announcement that maybe people have heard, maybe they haven't. But let's back up first because after 25 years, you guys had made the announcement that you were going to stop doing the Barn Festival. And then back in early spring, you decided, you know what, we're going to launch this barn market. Tell us what happened there. What was that all about?
Well, my husband passed away in March, and of course, we weren't planning on that. We were hoping when we announced that last fall, we actually were, starting to plan the next chapter of our lives, which was just to kind of slow down a little bit and get Brian healed up, because he was battling cancer. But there were some complications, and he passed away in March, and then the pandemic hit immediately after that, like within days, because we actually had to cancel our celebration service even and have that later in the summer. But I started hearing from our vendors, and it was just, became very, very apparent that, wow, this is a huge impact on our vendors. The people that have become friends out here and family are barn vendors. And I thought, gosh, if I'm sitting on all of this property come September and I could actually help these people out by having another event, why not do that? And so I kind of got the thought of doing it as a barn market. I wanted to rename it because it's a different thought. So what I'm doing this time around is I'm filling both sides of the road with pop-up vendors. And we've never done that before. In all of the 25 years that we've been doing the Barn Festival, it was just a different structure, but kind of the same because, I still have so many of the same vendors. Like I would say at least 80% of the vendors out here are vendors who have been with us in the past. And so we've got a good amount of brand new vendors. So anyhow, this went so well this last weekend. It was absolutely amazing. And I mean, I just was blown away, and our vendors were blown away because everyone was having record-breaking sales, and we had an amazing crowd. And, I had this thought, well, why not do this one more weekend? And when I started asking around some of my bigger vendors who are taking up complete buildings and, and just some that are over in the warehouse area, everyone said yes. And so with a few exceptions, there are some vendors who had to pull out because they had obligations for this coming weekend. So, which was kind of sad for us to see, but yet I've been on the phone kind of nonstop yesterday, and we'll probably finish that out today. But I have some really awesome vendors coming for this weekend that weren't here last weekend. And I can tell you a little bit about them if you'd like.
Yes, let's do that. Give us a sneak preview of what's going to be happening this weekend.
Okay. Well, I have felt that we were a little bit short on gourmet food product. And so that was kind of my focus. Well, so what happened is I ended up getting a hold of two of the most popular gourmet food vendors that do shows like this all across the nation, and they're going to come here. And so I'm super excited about those two vendors. They're going to be taking up substantial space in the warehouse, along with, gosh, I have a brand new a gal who's doing wood, just kind of the wood product, home decor stuff. So in other words, if people do come out for the second weekend and they've been here, they already came last weekend, and they think they're going to see vendors in the same spots. That's not necessarily the case. So make sure that if you don't find the vendor that was here last weekend that you're looking for, make sure you ask, because it could be that I just moved them. I've been pretty unorganized, but it's happening, and it worked. So here we are.
And it's such a great thing for these vendors who probably have not had the opportunity to go to any shows this summer. I mean, maybe that's the case, maybe it's not, but what have you heard from them?
Oh yeah, you're so right. It's crazy. And even the rest of the year, I mean, these shows have been canceled. And that's why I'm just so happy that we can do this. It is really providing an awesome opportunity for not only the vendors, but even the customers. I mean, everyone had smiles on their faces. If they didn't have masks, we couldn't see their smiles maybe, but so many people were just so happy. It was fun. It was just so much fun.
Oh, that's so good to hear. So, okay, so for people who maybe didn't get an opportunity to go last weekend or are looking for something else, what are some important things that they need to know if they're planning to go this coming weekend?
Okay. Well, because, this was so like last minute, I'm still working on things, but my thought is let's just do the shuttle service to and from the fairgrounds on Saturday, because that's our busy day. That's when it's crazy busy. But my goal is to get that in place, and I don't see a problem with that. Otherwise, I think everything will be pretty much the same. Gosh, it's going to be a beautiful weekend.
It is. Let's hope it stays that way too.
Yeah.
So, from your perspective, you've been running this kind of all behind the scenes, and obviously, this is something you've never done before. But what's been your favorite part about doing this last weekend?
Oh gosh. Oh, I think, well, so I guess I would say that I've been able to maybe be out and about a little bit more to visit with the customers, because my responsibilities are a little different now. Although it's been a lot to kind of figure out, being my first time doing it this way. I think this coming weekend will be a lot more relaxing for me, because I will be able to, be out and about even more so. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's just kind of hard to figure everything out, but we're doing okay. My son Nick is, helping me, and of course we have wonderful barn staff, and that's always a big plus, to have really awesome people working with you. And my family's pulled in, and my brother comes out, and gosh, he was awesome last weekend. He was on the four-wheeler, kind of taking that role that Brian used to, have, going back and forth and checking out things. And well, I think it's just kind of easier. And going forward, I'm open to anything. I'm still open to selling the place, but if we don't sell the place, I also think that we should continue the barn markets at least, and possibly even in the spring. I think we might just go ahead and schedule one in the spring, because this has been fun. The vendors seem to really like it a lot. It's a different setting for them, coming out here to the barn. It's kind of unique for a lot of them to come out into a setting like this.
Absolutely. Well, again, the upcoming barn market, the second weekend, is coming up October 2nd through the 4th. That's this weekend. And we're joined by Marla Anders. She is the mastermind behind all of it. Marla, what else did we miss that's important to mention?
Well, I think one thing is that, we have been working with the health department over all of this. And so we do encourage people to do the social distancing. And I felt like our customers did a really good job in that department. And we encourage people to wear masks, but we aren't requiring it. And we're just wanting to really be conscientious of all of that too. And so we have hand sanitizer throughout. I have all of my vendors who are offering it at their spaces, and I have some hand sanitizer stations that are placed around. So we are recommending that people go online to purchase their tickets, because then when they come, they can just have their phone scanned and you don't have that exchange of money. But we're okay with taking people's money. It's just that it'd be nice if they could come with the correct change so that we don't have all that extra. We really don't want to do credit cards at the gates, because that's a little bit more of a that's a little cumbersome for us. Yeah.
All right, awesome information. Marla, as we round out this conversation, what's the best way to stay up to date? Of course, things are constantly changing, but where should they go to get the most up-to-date information?
Oh, that's obviously Facebook. You know, Facebook is where it's at for us. Anyhow, we have an Instagram page too, and I don't feel like I do as good of a job on the Instagram, but Facebook is where people will get the latest, most up-to-date information.
All right, perfect. Marla Anders joining us. She is the owner of the Barn Festival. Of course, she's launching the second weekend of the Barn Market, and that'll be happening this weekend, October 2nd through the 4th. I'm Alex Wojcicki on the Rural Radio Network. Marla, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, Alex.